a nude astrologer and you're watching my bamboo, or the new moon in Sag. And look at the beautiful astro-seek that allows you. By the way, I get no sponsorship for this. I'm open to sponsorship for this. That allows you to animate the chart and go right on the minute and all that for free. Um, you can just go to astroseek.com and play around. There's just so much to play here. I just googled new moons and then I got the chart and then I animated the chart until the moon is just almost on the minute. And if I was like really insisting, then I could get this on the minute because you could have animation even of 1 second. And this is so lovely. You can get that for free. So if you don't have money to buy an astrology program right now, or you're a beginner astrologer, you could absolutely use AstroSeek also for your consultations. Thanks, Peter, for that. So this is the new moon in Sagittarius. That beautiful new moon in Sagittarius. Sometimes astrology provides us with certain elections where we hardly have anything to complain about. And this is one of these times. So, yes, Uranus and Saturn are still in orb of the square. Yes, Mars is quite tightly still conjuncting Neptune, even though it's leaving the conjunction. The square is very much in orb. Yes, all of that is still going on. However, um, Mars is also applying to trine Saturn, which is lovely because these two are usually not planets that get along, and the harmonious aspects between them allow them to learn from each other and actually work in a beneficial way together. And that's something that we need. Um, and most of all, this beautiful trine here that we see, that's sort of a kind of a sextile to Pluto, and that sort of a kind of a trine to Jupiter that is the ruler of this new moon, give us a beautiful new beginning. And of course, it's not quite the time to start something when the moon is invisible. We usually wait. Okay, we wait 2.5 days until the moon is visible. It will be visible probably around Capricorn. If it does get to be visible before it enters Capricorn, then hurrah. Um, but it usually is preferred to wait to the first crescent moon. Some people do plant seeds on the new moon, which I think is okay because seeds are the stuff that you don't see until you see. And so I think that planting seeds can be beneficial, although some other people would say that they usually prefer to plant with the first crescent moon, so the first when we first see the moon, so that they will be supported by the moon, so that the earth will see the moon and grow the seeds, which is also why we manifest with the first crescent moon and not right at the new moon. However, the moon is still open in a new cycle, even though it is invisible. And it's a lucky one in Sag. It's a lucky new beginning. It's not impaired. The moon is not impaired by anything, which is something that I love saying. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. And the place where it's going to have this lucky new beginning may vary for you. So first of all, new moon, new beginning. Okay, we get that. Okay, something was closing. Okay, something decreased. We come to the new moon, and now things will only increase from there, especially when the moon becomes visible. Okay, until it is full moon. So, what is beginning in your life, and the seeds of the thoughts that you will manifest, or the seeds of the things that begin in your life, that being planted here in this first decan of Sagittarius. So let's first of all look at terms and decans. Let's see if we have. Okay, I think I, yeah. Mm, well, okay, whole line, but that's not really. No, it's not really giving me anything. Um, mm, 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 mm. Uh, so, Sagittarius. Let's begin with Sagittarius. Okay. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So, but it is a mutable fire sign. So, it is the higher mind, it is philosophy, it is also traveling. Okay, mutable fire, traveling, but not just traveling. Traveling usually to see other cultures, other religions. Okay, it's the type of, it can also be a pilgrimage, but it's the type of traveling where you do that to advance your soul. You do that to learn something new. Okay, also to trust. Sometimes people go and study, and then they travel to study. So that is also something that can happen for some of you. Um, Sagittarius is also ruled by Jupiter for those of us that are looking for a Jupiterian figure or a spouse. That can also be a time where that search is triggered. Okay, that quest to find the partner that nourishes my life mission. And this is the type of partnership that is seen from the perspective, especially when Venus is already there, seen from the perspective of what relationships support my life mission. What the relationship grow me spiritually in an abundant, in an expansive way? How do I expand in relationships? How do I learn through expansion rather than through, contraction, the painful lessons of Saturn that I need to be self-sufficient, I need to be resilient, I need to be this, I need to prove myself. Sagittarius is teaching us about how can a partner also expand our mind by just being loving and kind and inspiring. And hey, that's good news. Okay, that's good news. Especially when Sagittarius, although it is reflective, it is retrograde here, or is it? Oh my gosh, it's of course it's already direct. Oh yeah. Some of y'all might be meeting a significant other who is really good inspiration to your life, a good addition to your life. So consider that. And I'll touch on it on the sign to sign. So, traveling, favored, not on the new moon itself, but beginning, okay? Traveling, favored, studying, favored, relationships that support your life mission and growing spiritually from a place of love and expansion and joy and freedom, favored. Um, Maybe even children, because Jupiter rules children. Some of you, children getting pregnant, favored. Um, Having a lovely romance, okay, abroad. If it's, not stepping on anybody's toes, favored. Said, studying, traveling, meeting new people, studying about religions, different religions, meeting up with all kinds of people who come from all kinds of religious backgrounds in a more loving way, uh, favored, um, wonderful. Okay, all those things, wonderful. And for each of you, it's going to be happening in different facets of your life. So, wow, how many things I listed here. And what else in this what else happening here? Of course, the sun is in Sagittarius, so we have two luminaries ruled by Jupiter. We also have Venus and we also have Mercury. Okay? Although Mercury is ruling a sign where Mars is, and Mars is so, um, so I wouldn't say, trade or business necessarily. However, perhaps planning, perhaps reflecting on how do you meet your freedom needs and respect your, beliefs or religion or other beliefs or religion in your trading, in your business, with your children. That is also favored. So, all in all, just a good day, isn't it? Yes, Mars is still squaring Neptune. So consider that, okay? It's something to consider, something that is in the sky. Anything that also includes Mars, you need to consider that. So, like, it's just something that you're going to need to tackle. Either wait for Mars, if it's something that includes Martian things like, romantic relationship, take that into consideration. Um, and take into consideration that you want to see that it's not something that's shown in your individual charts, in your synastry, in your composite. Uh, and then you can be cautious, but maybe safe to go. Or it can be that you want to wait until Mars leaves that orb and maybe begin, postpone your physical encounters to a time where Mars is operating more smoothly. So you can be enjoying it and more respectful of each other's boundaries. Um, but other than that, it's not like it really is one of those new moons where you don't really have anything terrible to say about them. And now, since that is so easy, let's move to sign by sign. And so I'll begin if the ascendant here is in Virgo. So I'll begin with Virgo, and you feel free to do timestamps if you like. If I don't get to do timestamps myself, then feel free to do them. I would appreciate it a lot. So, for Virgo ascendants, this would be happening in your one, two, three, fourth house. So, fourth house. Um, you could you could be preferably not necessarily moving a house because again, this Mercury is good, but Mars is in a sign ruled by Mercury, and so um, it's preferably not doing anything contractual with the house. But you could definitely design the house, renovate the house, something new in the house. Maybe you're having a newborn, and so that changes, the house, enlarges the house, expands the house. Okay, maybe you're building something in the house, but then try not to make it anything to do with trading, buying, signing contracts just because of the location of Mars in Gemini that is Mercury ruled. Mercury is okay, but Mars there will put it in a position where you have to revise something and you don't know what that revision will be. So then, remember we're still in the shade of eclipses, okay? Eclipses can affect us. So it's not a time to start some new contract in the Sagittarius area of your life just yet, but definitely to redesign the house, redecorate. It can be nice time with your family members. It can be that some of the communication might go a bit askew, but if you keep in mind that you care for each other, and you mind your words, then that can be all in all a great time. So for Libra, this is happening in your third house. Okay, siblings, day to day routines, your neighborhood. And again, while communication might not be the most honest and authentic side of this transit, it can be that, you know, you could have a new sibling, or you could be um, decorating your environment, something environmental that you're doing. Not necessarily environmental, but, you know, decorating your something in the neighborhood, or doing something with your siblings. Um, it can be also day-to-day routine. So you maybe want to make sure that the space that you're doing your daily work in is looking good. Okay, more designing, but less on the communication just yet. Um, so yeah, but you know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Mercury is still direct. It's not retrograde. Some would say it is invisible, depending on the orb you work with. I don't know if you can see it in the sky. If you cannot, then that can affect things. Um, but all in all, just something expensive happening in your third house. Keep in mind that communication is needed. It's not going to ruin, like whatever is not said or whatever is went askew, it's not going to ruin what happened in Sagittarius. But it will be revised, and there will be something that you're going to have to go over if you actually start something new there. So, ascendant in, and by the way, ascendant can also be sun and moon, but I like to talk in terms of ascendant because that's the most accurate, and that's where you'll see it. And ascendant is usually it is you. Okay, the sun can be, you know, your father, sometimes your mother. The moon can be, you know, mother, caregiver. I don't know, um, or depending on the house, but you is the ascendant. So, Ascendant Scorpio, that's happening in your second house of income. So, something that is beauty, that is attractive because it sends off the vibration of being free and educated and scholarly um, uh, and curious about others' philosophy can earn you money. So you could actually be doing a bit of politics here, because Mercury, politics does not usually require Mercury to be, you know, on spot. And it's okay that things will need to be revised, something that happens always. But this skill that where you combine beautiful philosophy of freedom for relationships or free relationships, and you have a teaching there, or you have some sort of a skill, or maybe you are attractive and you attract money in this way. Um, and that's joyous new beginning for you, that you can just attract income. But there can also be expense. Okay, it can also be a new expense that you have, perhaps on your new relationship or on your relationship, or you want to buy something beautiful, but there is another added value that you want to, or maybe now you have the freedom to buy something beautiful that you wanted. That is also something that can happen with this. Or now you spend money on your studies. Okay, now you have the means to spend money on your studies. You make money and then you spend it on your studies, or you study and then you meet someone. But it's not studies that it's not the ninth house for you, right? It's the second. So it could be that your studies or your educational background gives you certain skill that you can get paid for, or that you can attract a partner with. Sagittarius, okay, this is first house. And depending on where your ascendant is where you would have this Beautiful new beginning to your first house. Again, it is a new moon. It is not a solar return or perfected year. It's, it is a new moon, so might not be major. Um, but if it is solar return new moon for you, that means more. So this new beginning for you, you are attractive. You are attractive. This if it's solar return this new year, if it's lunar return this new month, if it's just a new moon for you, you're just gonna be attracting until the full moon. Okay, and also for the next 6 months until the full moon in Sagittarius, there's a new cycle opening up for you of at least 6 months, where you are attracting things. Okay, so you've let go of things when Venus was so. You can actually really recover right now from an affair that drained your sense of self or that drained you emotionally because you severed it when Venus ingressed into Sagittarius, or you severed it when Venus was in Scorpio, and now you are attractive, so you can enjoy new freedom, being attractive, being maybe single again, but attractive, or finding a new relationship that's nothing like that previous relationship that you had to let go of. Um, and that slowly blooming into something. But if you do, it's actually advisable to wait with intimacy because Mars is squaring Neptune and Mars is retrograde. And the Mercury is in your sign, but Mercury is ruling Gemini and Mars is in Mercury ruled sign. And so, because Mars is retrograde, it means that something will be revised there. Okay, so the communication will be revised. Okay, and that means that you want to wait a bit because it might be worth the while to wait a bit. It might be worth the while not to begin just yet the relationship. Okay, date this person, meet this person, get to know this person. Don't consume physically the relationship just yet because this one actually might be something that has a lot of potential. Okay, Jupiter, if you're a woman looking for a man, Jupiter is in Pisces, reflective. It's roots, but no, it's not reflective, it's direct already, because you might not want to miss out on that one. You want to make sure that you don't go into physicality, not because it is too soon or any traditional reasons, just because Mars is not favoring getting physical right now. And if you do the physical, if you postpone to the physical to where Mars is in a better position, then this can work for you because you meet the person, you get to know the person, you have the starting of the relationship, and then you elect the time for the starting for the physical intimate relationship, and so you can play with that and improve the timings of the advancement of your connection because you don't want to miss on that one. If you do get to start in a relationship, this is something that, if it is good for you, you have to look at the synastry, you have to look at individual charts. But all in all, it's something where, with the moon applying to Jupiter there, if you can, then make the best of it because it can be something. We don't see any of, yeah. I mean, of course, Saturn here is trining Mars. Ah, um, you know, wait for it to trine when Mars is direct. Then that could be a good time. That could be a good time. But you have to see it, the sky, you have to see the other factors. Um, but yes, you are attractive. Um, and I wouldn't even say play your cards right because it's not about playing your cards right. It's just about making sure that you do things on, you expand on time. Um, so get to know, understand that while Venus here is in Sag, Jupiter is in Pisces, so the desire to merge is there, and so you would have to be the person for whom this works. Okay, not all. Okay, sometimes the best elections are not fit for your natal chart, um, but if you are the person that can combine merging and space and freedom, um, then yeah, it could actually be a significant other coming to you, you attracting someone, you're drawing in someone. It could be both a man and a woman, or a man and a woman in a person, one person. Communication would need to be revised, and do postpone getting physical, or like, yeah, whatever you do together would need to be revised. But then, because of the beautiful aspect of Jupiter, it can be that it's worth the while to make the adaptation. Um, Also, you could be attracting something that is relevant to your life in general. Okay, Jupiter here is in your fourth house. Don't scroll over this one. Okay, don't scroll over this one. It's good for you. Um, Ascendant in Capricorn. So this is happening in your 12th house. And you're like the only ascendant to whom I would say don't go for it if it's like why? Because if you're Capricorn ascendant, this means that your seventh house is Cancer, and that you're moony, and depends on when your moon is. Um, you're like what's to do with Venus in the 12th house for you, right? Not something that you and Pluto in your first house right now. No, you're the only one to whom I say, if you do meet a person that you have an affair with, it can be a hidden affair. Um, and if it's something that's completely fated, it will happen, it will have a lot of benefits. But normally, like, you're probably not looking for a hidden affair that might not last that much, but that something around the sensuality will drag it too long because of the aspect of Saturn and Mars. Um, so you're like probably the only sign to whom I would say not favorable for romance, but it can be favorable for your mental health. Not a romance, okay? Not a romance. You could do a retreat or something, maybe devotional work, maybe sensual work with you or with your energy transmutation, something that is benefic to your spiritual growth, that does involve sensuality, that does involve liberation, but does not necessarily involve other people, just so that you wouldn't be having to deal with consequences of things that are like, if it's something completely fated for you, it will be, but otherwise it could really get confusing for you, and yeah. But other than that, yes, it can be a new beginning in your mental health. Okay, you could be feeling better, you could simply be feeling better, um, could be retreating. um, It could be that those parts of you that work, depending on what you have there natally and how is it aspected, that those parts that could be working against you are now working for you. Okay, that can also be hidden help from women, from queer people, from children, or deceased queer people, deceased women, deceased sisters, family members, deceased fathers, okay, the sun, the moon, deceased parents, deceased relatives. You could be receiving help from there and having a new beginning, or you could be forming connection with them and they could teach you something. That could be very benefic influence if you are stable enough to do this work and to make good contacts. Then yes, the Mercury could be revised, but that could be a good timing for that. You could get a sense of freedom from learning about near death experiences also as well. um, Ascendant in Aquarius, so this is happening in your 11th house. All in all, lovely. Do remember that Mars is in the fifth. Okay? So, mm, if it is like, because of what I said with Mars and Mercury, if it is about investments like crowdfunding or even digital coins, because of their masses involvement, or the need to be dependent and reliant on the masses of digital coins. So this is not the time to do that, again, because of the sensitivity of what's going on in the sign that Mercury is ruling, this Mars. Okay. Other than that, you could be enjoying, you could be traveling for a conference, meeting someone there. You could be designing something or presenting something. You could be giving a talk that is actually looking very good. Okay, a beautiful presentation. You could be eloquent, even not quite accurate, but you could definitely have enjoyable time amongst your colleagues, amongst your um, activism. If you're doing activism, then you could have some great time for that for probably the next 6 months. So this is something to pay attention to. Because if you're doing a podcast or something like that, then hey, that could be quite a successful time, maybe quite a time to record a lot of episodes. They might not be on the spot accurate, but they will deliver knowledge. And if you focus on things to do with Venus rather than with Mercury, then you could get the best results out of this. Um, Ascendant in Pisces. This is happening in your 10th house. And so it's funny because I'm Ascendant Pisces and now I'm giving reading also to myself. So again, this new meeting could be around your career. It also could be one of your that's something that's happening to your boss, something that's happening to um, your mother, your father. Because the sun is there, so it's gonna be both. Um, but it's something that also is benefiting you and your reputation, because this is the 10th house. So whatever is going on with your boss, whatever is going on with your parents or solar figures or teachers that are somehow for some reason appearing here in the tent, um, it could benefit you traveling for the sake of career, um, traveling with the boss, with one of the parents. That can also even be the case. Okay. That can also even be the case. Um, and it's something that's starting now. It might happen in the next 6 months. um, you could be um, learning, but learning or maybe starting a career as teaching. Maybe it could be in a higher education institution, or you could be teaching abroad. um, you could be receiving help from women, uh, or attractive to people, or you could be attractive right now to the wider public. Okay, it's not attracting us on the personal level, but you could be appearing as attractive to the outside world. Okay, so for example, when you present yourself or around your career, around your status, you could be attractive, and that could have various positive significations. They could be more representative in the next 6 months, which is good news for me. I keep my beautiful picture here. I might be doing a photo shoot, who knows. Um, a good time, all in all, a time of new beginning for your career, but again, in the right of something that has to do with traveling, that has to do with one of the parents, that has to do with either your boss. Um, so, good relations with your boss, of course, not romantic. Yeah. because of Mars here, huh? Even if you do have those placements natally, so because of Mars here. Again, if you do meet a romantic partner around your career, or you get to know someone because of your reputation, you get met, you're meeting someone, or somebody wants to fetch you up with someone. Mercury here is can also be someone that you meet through someone, okay? Because Mercury is the mediator. So if you have a wing person, that wing person might be needing to revise their opinions. Okay, so take that into consideration. And also, anything in general for physical consummation is not yet the time. So to meet, to get to know, to fall in love, yes. To physically do something, to act together, that would need to be revised, and it's good to find a good election for that, so that can be very enjoyable for both of you, um, and work out well. So that is the new moon, new beginning. Um, Good time to study about like the way women are treated in other cultures, the way business are made in other cultures. Not to do business, but to learn about it. Um, the way yeah, the way other people think, and or other women might teach you about their religion, about their different cultural background, and so on and so forth. All in all, really nice. Ascendant in Aries. So Aries, this is happening in your ninth house. So travel sign with travel house. Okay, this could be meaning that in the coming 6 months you would be traveling abroad. Um, or starting higher studies. If you are beginning higher studies, very good for you. Okay, it could eventually also contribute to your healing, but that's on a later aspect. But um, definitely good for traveling, definitely good for studying higher studies. You could meet someone while studying, you could meet someone while traveling. If you do religious practice, great time for that, to dedicate time to learn more, to expand your horizon, especially about the feminine or religions. For example, if you're learning about religions, this can be a good time to learn about Islam, because Islam is ruled by the moon and also by Venus. So good time for you perhaps to learn about other religions, or moon ruled religions, or even sun ruled religions, Venus ruled religions. Mercury, the data will be so need to be revised, but then you can start and then revise. It's not nothing much. um, it could be, if you start higher learning or go traveling, that your field of studies will be changed again, because of Mars here is reflective and will go direct, or that you need to change something in the way you behave, the way you act, or the way you verbally act, or something about your strategy will need to be changed, or even fund, because this is trade, right? Mercury, even the way you fund your studies might be needing to revise. um, so think about, if you are starting studies or traveling, think about a couple of funding options, and be prepared for revision, okay? Because you will need to do so. So that is for Aries ascendant. For Taurus ascendant, this is in your eighth house. So this is one of the tricky houses, because it's not really good for romance, huh? It's not terrible for birth, so you might be given a baby. You might be, this is the actual birth, so eighth house actual birth. So if you are pregnant and about to bring children, so if you give birth on this date, it can run perhaps more smoothly um, for you, and yeah, and would put the child in a way that their life is beginning a cycle. However, it's not a time, for example, to romantically merge with someone or merge assets with someone. It is a time to have a new beginning in your finances. Not start to invest, but actually think about what do you cease to invest in. Mars. Not cease to invest just yet, not do any action, just plan. Gather information. Tend to the eighth house. Tend to your accountant. Tend to um, where do you share resources with others? Energy, matter, finances, and also emotional. Okay, matter and spirit. And learn about it because your motivation will be to regain your freedom. Okay, this is eighth house for you. You need freedom. Whatever you do there, you need to serve your goal to be free. And does it actually support that? Does your financial freedom plan actually, you know, work? And what needs to be revised? So you could have like a female accountant, or you could have a solar figure that shines on those things that you kind of try to toss away or to not tend to or to keep hidden. But all in all, it's favorable. Okay, it's looking into that so that something good can come out of it, and it is a good time. Okay, good. Go and check. Go and work. Do your paperwork. Go and bring. Where's all my pensions? Where's all my 401k plans? Me talk to your account. It's like gather information. Don't make a decision just yet, but just begin to gather this information. Tend to that. It's a lucky time to tend to that. If you also have not reported things or all these things, this is a very good time for you to. There are many ways in which you can have forgivingness when you do decide to report, and you take a lawyer that can help you out with that. Don't decide on anything just yet, but just begin to gather this information, because that can be something very favorable. When Mars turns direct, it can be a time for you to finally report that income that you didn't report, or just do something, correct something if you've been doing something incorrectly, correct something, or if you've been not been tending to something, that might be the time to do that. So that is a lucky new beginning for you in that matter. Ascendant Gemini. So this is happening in your seventh house. Now, seventh house, Venus is going through there, but Mars is where it is right now. It's better for existing relationships than to start a relationship. If you start a relationship, don't, don't be hurry to physically consume it until Mars is directed in a favorable aspect. Why? Um, Seventh house are those, one-to-one relationships. It's not romance. It's not fifth house. Um, and it is basically deciding on a partnership, whether it's business or marriage. Mercury is important, and what's happening? Mercury is ruling right now Mars, and Mars is not. Mars is reflective. Okay, that means that um, whatever is starting now will need to be revised. The communication you're getting now is not the full picture, simply because there are elements that change your communication. There's data that is changing, sifting and sorting through data, okay, that you're getting. Mercury is the lower mind, Jupiter is the higher mind, and that adjusting of Mercury and Jupiter, even though both of them are okay, um, is something that needs to be revised. The way you're building up the full picture, this Mercury is the small details and Jupiter is the large picture. So you're seeing the trees and not the forest, or you're seeing the forest and not the trees. And and the way you make up your worldview right now will just need to have a bit of a reality check, And if you start a relationship right now, or if you settle down right now, you might need to revise a lot of things that while you can go through it, I mean, it's absolutely wonderful for Jupiter to be where it's at for you. Um, with Jupiter, it's doing good things, but that Mars thingy, and Mars is with under the confusion of Neptune. Okay, is something that you would need to consider. And Mars is also a physical consummation of a relationship. It's what we do together, and it's also what we do together physically. Um, so again, for marriage, uh, ah, on the one hand, it's like, oh, this could be so good for marriage, but on the other hand, wait, you know, not yet. So if you do take a point of committing, it should be in a way that is very flexible, that you can revise, and does not bind you physically. Because there's something that is. Because what happened? If this is a chart for a new relationship, this chart is going to have a progress chart, and you're going to have to wait until Mars is direct, and that can take decades. So if it's arranged marriage, maybe that can work, um, but but that can tell me, for example, that what your commitment style is in terms of your physical relating to each other is going to go through significant change in so and so decades of your being together. But also it can create a difficulty. Um, like Mars is reflective, it's retrograde, it's internal, it's in your first house. There's just something is not at your prime right now. You're just taking a rest to reconfigure. So you might, other factors being good, that can be okay. But if you get married and suddenly something in the drive there changes, this could be the reason. Okay, so it's not something I would put a stamp on for a new chart, like for good. It's good to get to know someone new, but it could be that you get to know someone new. But if you do, mind the Mars. So, okay, there is relation, that's the Venus part, and then there is action, that's the Mars part. So to get action, save it for a significant time. To make a stamp on starting a relation, that can be good. Um, and that is also true for business relationship, because then Mars action becomes what do you do together, okay? Your initiations, your business initiations together, your contracts that you do together, your projects that you do together. And again, Mars is reflective now. They will need to be revised. But if you put a stamp on something, their only chance you're slowing down the process because you have to wait for the progress chart, and that can be in decades. So don't put a stamp on it if it's a business thingy. Um, and you do get to know. Just don't act just yet. Get to know, converse, and don't act just yet. On the other hand, it could be actually a new enemy, and then and then their action on you might not be effective. It can take decades for them to be effective. So if it is an enemy, you might want to sign a contract with them, but not necessarily. Okay, you have to be smart. Like you have to know a lot more about yourself and astrology and business to do that. Hello there to my viewers. Ascendant Cancer. This is happening in your sixth house of health and work, service to others, and pets. You could be getting a new pet, and you know what? There's no problem with that. Why not have a pet? It could be contributing to your health. This is a time to adopt a horse, maybe. You want a horse. Time to adopt a horse. Because that can actually be remedial, right? You know, something, although it can be a beautiful time with your health. Um, Jupiter is very strong. You could be recovering. You could be healing. If you have had long COVID, for example, this could you could be one of the signs that get out of it right now. So that could be wonderful for you. Um, and yeah, by all means, you could absolutely get, get a bird, or maybe a bird could be a problematic because of Mars there. Not a parrot or something, but if you do want to adopt a pet, that could be something that contributes to your health, and have a new friend, a new beginning there, and then you caretake for something, and you do the work of the sixth house in a way that gives you a sense of freedom and joy, and um, so you might, but you do be mindful because the pet can be clingy. The ruler Jupiter is in Pisces, and Pisces, Pisces is those, if you get like a dog, then that can be the dog that walks with you to the bathroom. And if you're not the type that likes that, then you might be mindful of that. Um, um, but yeah, this is actually something that can be good. Anyway, happy new beginning in terms of health. Something is clearing out of your lungs, out of your liver, anger being lifted off, and that contributes to your liver health. Um, so, all in all, just a wonderful thing happening. A relationship that starts is like for you is one of the signs that I would say not to start in a relationship, because sixth house meant is where we sacrifice for others, okay, where we are of service to others, okay. And if it's a pet and you caretake for your pets, um, or maybe new employee that you're training and you're coming from an act of service and teaching, then that can be good. But if it is a romance, then you might sacrifice. And what do you sacrifice with the sixth house being Sagittarius? Your freedom. So you might want to please this partner a lot. You might think that you found a new sense of freedom with this partner, but this can be an illusion. Um, Again, the Mars Neptune, okay? Maybe she's very attractive. You think you found freedom and you can commit, but no, she's not. And you meet her at work, and but if there are, look at the synastry, look at the individual chart. I mean, you could be volunteering or caring for someone and then walking your dog and meeting someone. Yeah, that can be. But also, it can be that you're meeting someone, and if there are other significations in your synastry and in your composite chart of sixth house placement, this could be a one-sided affair, or that one side sacrifices too much for the other side. And then that is the thing where that can be delusional, especially when Mars operates this way. So you could be falling in lust instead of falling in love, or somebody falling in lust with you instead of falling in love with you, and that being disillusioned by that. But all in all, even in the worst case, if that is the case, you would still gain a lot from the expansive aspect of Jupiter, the merging, the experience of loving. But hey, isn't it better, like, to adopt a pet that you do enjoy than get the good benefits rather than and start a relationship with someone else? In terms of, yeah, work, open enemies, oh, okay. You could actually, with Venus, you could actually make peace with open enemies that you have at work. This can actually be a good thing. But then note that the communication is not so the agreement would need to be revised. Ascendant Leo, and that puts it in the fifth house. Oh, that's so lovely. New hobbies, new creative projects. New romance, absolutely. Now, this is a bit tricky because new romance, remember what we said on Mars, right? But why not play a little with, you know, just getting to know each other, traveling a bit together, see what happens, let things take their natural course, and see what happens. Because this is absolutely a thing that, the fifth. house, and Saturn right now in your seventh house. You know, darling, you could be meeting someone. You could be meeting someone. Um, so wait with being physical. And again, just like Sagittarius, if you do meet someone here, then whatever adaptations you need to do to see what is the full potential of this, make them. Okay, worst case scenario, you will understand very good what you actually need and what your red lines are and what your standards are. But best case scenario, you could be, you could be very thankful that you didn't go with the Mars and then had to revise too many things. But also, it can be a situation where even if you did do wrong, like this could actually be the type of person that you meet that you could be doing all the wrong things, Mars in Gemini retrograde, but you will get to revise them, and it can actually be the kind of sweet romance that with the right one, you're doing all the wrong things and you're still right. It could actually be that. Okay? So this could be your story here. Yes, Saturn in your seventh, but Saturn is trine in that Mars. Okay? Something going on here, and it's absolutely romantic. Okay? Or you could be having a baby. You could be having a baby. Um, anyway, that's fortunate. Like, that's fortunate for you. And it can be a tremendous relief from that Saturn. You know, if you have Sun opposing Saturn, then yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Like Saturn in transit. Um, but hey, if it's not opposing Saturn, it could actually be very blessed, and it could actually be a blessed new beginning, because Saturn is trining Mars. Mars is applying to trine Saturn, but it's not making an aspect to Venus. So this can be prolonged attraction. And even though you will need to revise things, this is one of the actual cases where I would say that even if you do the Mars thing is with that significant other, it can actually be the revision can actually be quicker because it is fifth house and you're not getting married. You're not putting a stamp of something on your relationship that will take so long to, like a legal stamp that takes so long that has an actual chart. Wedding has an actual chart, while dating is more flexible. So it can be easier to revise, but I do still recommend to just get to know them, because you won't be sorry for that. Whoever comes in your life, you won't be sorry for that. Even if they disappoint you on the Mars plane, and you need to look at your natal chart, of course. If you have like vicious outer planets to luminaries or to Venus or to Jupiter, then take that with a grain of salt, with a lot of grains of salt. But other than that, this could be very, very high potential for a romance that does turn into something serious that can accompany you for a significant time in your life, if not all your life. Okay, depending what perfection year, what time lords, you could be meeting nobody. It's not for everyone, but for sure something beautiful is happening, and it's happening in your fifth. You could be having a baby, you could be getting pregnant. Um, you could be starting a new creative project that will be, even though it will need revision or something like that, you will still gain a lot from. So wherever you is coming for you now, go for it. You might have a bit of disappointments, but all in all, you know, the only thing to beware of course, is physical sexuality, because Mars is invasive and Neptune dissolves boundaries, and that can be like that. Is the only thing that can actually have significant implications that are not favorable. But other than that, if it's something benefic, creative, fun, don't gamble, but but not that kind of fun. But yeah, or study something for fun, because that's also denoting by that. Uh, so yes, and mind your expenses. Huh? because Jupiter in the eighth house expands expenses, and Mars is not doing well, and Mercury is so mind your expenses. Ascendant in Virgo, I already did, so that was the last ascendant. Whoa, so quickly. Yeah, so quickly. Um, very fortunate. A lot of freedom, new beginnings, new studies, new traveling. Um, if it's something that you want for the long run, then because of the location of Mars, go with getting to know each other first. Um, that's just that. So that was New Moon in Sagittarius. I'm Tali Shear on Twitter, Shirley Youngblood on Facebook. I do take requests, so if you do have requests for me, I see now that my messages has been off. What is this? Hi, Dan Boss. What's going on here? So my messages were off and I didn't see the message. So I didn't see your hi. So hi, Dan. Um, now that explains why I didn't answer them, because I didn't see them. So I am Tali Shir on Twitter, Shirley Youngblood on Instagram. I do readings. There's $50 for a reading. And yes, do subscribe to my channel, share, like if you like what you see, if you want more of that type of content. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.